It is Thursday, so you know our friend Jason Boyette is in today to talk about who is saying, hey, Amarillo. Jason, you had a big show this past week. It was live. How'd it go?
It went great. So, typically when I do a podcast interview, it's me and my guest and, a couple of microphones in a studio.
That's it.
This time we were up on a stage. We had a crowd of people watching us, and so it was part public event, and then we recorded it and turned it into a podcast episode.
Well, very cool. I noticed it was in one of these pictures where it was turned around. I think it's that picture. I looked and I was like,
yeah, so I took that photo from the stage actually during the show.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Just to get an idea of who was there and what it was like.
Okay, so your guest was Hayden Pedigo.
Right.
We've covered him extensively because he ran for a public office. You said that people were shocked at this one. Tell me, that they went in thinking one thing and came out thinking something completely opposite.
Hayden is kind of a polarizing figure, and he'll admit that he kind of accidentally got himself into the campaign with some, weird videos that maybe his generation understood, but not a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Once he came to the decision that he was seriously going to do this campaign, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
And he started studying the issues. He started going to forums. He was talking to people, to voters, and learning stuff.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the campaign, it wasn't a joke. But I think, he had some trouble maybe getting over that hurdle. And so people came to the show. There were a group who knew Hayden and knew it was going to be great. Mm-hmm. There were a group who came who knew him only from, the campaign or how it started.
Right.
We're totally surprised how smart he is, how much he knew about Amarillo, and the great things that he had to say about this community and why he was here.
I think I probably would have been, as just not a member of the media, but just as somebody that's out there, when I first saw those videos, because it was way before you could sign up to vote.
Right.
And so I thought it was just fun. And I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. This is kind of an outside of the box thing. And so I got it, but I was like, he's probably not going to actually run. This is just kind of fun.
And he really didn't intend to run.
Right. And so then all of a sudden, it's there. And when we had him on Politics Today, and I listened to that interview, I was impressed. So,
and I wasn't just impressed with what he had to say about the campaign, because that was only part of what we talked about. He's a musician that has a following outside Amarillo, and part of what he thinks is really key to his career is that he lives in Amarillo. That it's a place where there's a real diverse community. Mm-hmm. It's not your typical Austin or Nashville or LA. So if you live here and you're making music, doing something creative, you're here on purpose, and that's getting him attention just by leaning into all the things that make Amarillo a cool place to live. Okay,
so he didn't win. You guys were able to talk about that. What's next for Hayden Pedigo? I know that the documentary crew came in and they kind of did some stuff there. What's next for him?
He's still trying to figure it out, whether he's going to push toward a career in politics, whether he's going to keep doing what he's doing. I think what he's really passionate about is improving the frequency with which his generation votes and gets involved in politics. A lot of people, maybe in their mid-20s said, Hayden, you're the first person I ever voted for, period. Yeah. And so that says a lot about him, but it says a lot about that generation and whether or not they care enough to vote or get involved in those local issues. So he wants to push them toward more civic involvement, more community knowledge, and taking advantage of that we have.
At the end of the day, our voter apathy in Amarillo, overall, as a population, is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
It is just incredibly low. So then when you take even that younger generation, getting them involved and getting them to the polls, getting them active. So looking forward to the next one. Do you want to share who the next one is, or is this going to be?
No, I won't tease it other than to say it's someone else who has a really deep connection to the city and is able to speak very intelligently about what's happening here.
I wish I could do that, speak intelligently.
It's a good goal.
Yeah, Jason, I appreciate you being on the program as always. Make sure on whatever platform that you like to listen to podcasts, put Hey Amarillo on the list, and you can learn more about Jason and all the good things that he does over on our website. Always good to catch up with you, and we've got more Studio 4 with a look at news and weather after this.